Greetings, this is Flares. Today we're going to go over the Chaos Realm. The Chaos is known as the ultimate mixer realm. It can mix with blue, red, or purple. And the unique mix mechanic is that each realm will keep 100% of its realm bonuses, and Chaos will add more to it than realms of its type. So you want to mix every realm with at least one Chaos unit. But at the start of the video, I'm going to go over pure Chaos. Pure Chaos is if you have all 4 units as Chaos. Right now, I'm showcasing the Infinite Loop Chaos team, which is the most popular meta team for a mono Chaos. So what a mono Chaos allows you to do is double up on S key and double posse a turn. In this particular comp, it's called Infinite Loop. It's the most popular mono Chaos comp because, as the name says, it's infinite loop, meaning you kill everything in one turn. Let me show you why it's infinite loop. You will basically never run out of Rift to kill it every turn with this comp. You just play a trillion cards every turn. I'm just gonna talk over while I do this gameplay, and you can see what I mean by infinite loop. Let me just keep playing cards mindlessly. Let's grab that. So in the units we have Tawil, which is S tier, known as the strongest unit in the game, if not second strongest compared with Gillette. We have Hamill, which is another S tier unit, known as one of the best supports in the game. We have Riker, which was a former S tier, now A tier with no nerfs because he's got power crept, but she's still really good. And we have Karen, which is slot in a lot of mono Chaos comp and a lot of comps when you start out, not because she's good, but because her cards have retain. See this, retain? You don't play her cards, basically. You keep her cards in hand because she has retained, and you basically never play them. So you can cycle through your deck faster, as I'm doing in this infinite loop. As you see, I'm still playing cards. I played, I don't know how many cards so far, but it's a lot. Still playing, I don't care. I've been playing this enough that I know what to do. I'm just playing fast. I'm still playing cards. This is the infinite loop combo. Still playing cards. Boss is gonna die this turn. How it's gonna die is up to the game. Let's see. Play this. Play this. Play this. Part of the infinite loop. Draw more cards. Reduces by 1 because it's more cards. Play more cards. Why not? I'll play this card. I'll play this card because I can play it without having the mana, because that's Hamill's mechanic. I'll go over it when I'm going over him personally. Since I'm at full S key, I'm going to play Tawil's card to use them up and not overcap. I'm going to overplay that because you can always play Riker's attack and defense card at E3 for gold. See, I don't have the mana for it, but Tawil, since it's infinite loop, I can still play her cards. You can play Hamill, Riker, or Tawil's card without having the mana for it. And you just cycle through the build. Well, so I'm out of S key right now. I'm building up more S key. Unleashing a random posse. Oh, boss is almost dead. Or first bar is almost gone. Let's see. Bad luck. Unfortunate. Oh, still have some more health left. What do? I just draw a card from this card pile. Let's do Rondo. Boom. More mana. And let's play this. Now, man, play this. Okay, phase 1 done. Infinite combo. Let's play this. Let's play this. See, I don't care about mana. This is the infinite loop deck. Let me just finish this up real quick, even though that'll make the video longer, because I know that some people want to see how an infinite loop will work. Let me just apply weakness on stuff. Now I do reduce damage. It doesn't matter, because I'm going to kill this boss's turn anyway. That's just the nature of the deck. I have enough hand space now, because Tawil's Wheel gives me +2 hand space, which is good for an infinite loop combo. This is the most popular Tawil. I don't like it as much as Blue will. See, I'm just picking fast to make the video faster. But these are not optimal choices. be warned. If you're gonna do the exact same things I'm doing, it won't work because I'm just playing cards randomly, but it still works because it's an infinite loop combo. Let me play this. Play this. Let me pull this card. It's good. Again, most players playing this takes like a million years, but the boss is dead. Even though it still has 100,000 HP, it's dead. It just doesn't know it's dead yet. Let's see this. What do I play to reduce my mana? Play that. Oh, nice. More cards. Play this. Play this, because remember, this infinite loop combo, you can keep playing cards even if you don't have mana for it. I'll make another video on exactly how this works, but for now, just enjoy the gameplay until I get to the in-depth Awaker part. Play card. Play card. This is relatively brainless here. Let me give that to him. Play card. Give him a free barrier. And boss is dead. It would be a 1/1 turn if the boss didn't have cocoon or immunity. But yep, that's the infinite loop combo. Easy score. It's the most popular chaos deck. See, everyone is using the infinite loop combo. Riker, Hamill, Karen, Tawil. Riker, yep. See that? Same comp. Most popular mono chaos comp in the game. Now let's go over the tier list. In case you guys are new or don't have access to my spreadsheet, I'm gonna pull up the spreadsheet. It's very popular. This is the tier list. Chaos has a lot of units in S tier, A tier. It's one of the better realms. It's one of the first realms, mixer realms. So Tawil, S tier, known as the strongest unit in the game. I just used her. So I think she's the strongest unit in the game. Some people say she's the second behind Yellet. But if you're pulling her, you want her E2. E2 is her first breakpoint. E1 is also very good. If you're playing her at E0, meaning base copy, do not play her. You cannot play her well. You want this to give inspiration when you play her win card. And you want this to reduce the cost of her exalt cards. E3 is very good. Overexalt is very good. If you want to invest in her, go for +4, which is what I have her. Very great, good unit. S tier. Now for her wheels, let me show you. The optimal wheel is her Sig wheel and +12 Giant's Blade. And this is the optimal Covenant, Dreams of Medication. So that's the best way to build the best unit in the game. Now her mechanic is she can be slot into any realm and wreck base. She can wreck base in Chaos, Caro, and Blue. The only 3 realms that matter in the game. Now, her Exalt is one of the strongest in the game. You choose 5 cards from the realm, from any Awaker in the realm, whether they're in your team or not. So if you place her in blue, which I think is the best realm, you get access to every blue card maxed out. So max out her Exalt first. And after using Exalt, the first card that Tawil plays after Exalting is played twice. So do not play her strike and defense after Exalting. Do not make that mistake. Play either one of the cards you just chose, or discard, or discard. Also, again, infinite utility. With this Exalt, she's a healer, damage dealer, shielder, buffer, everything. Because she can copy any card in the game. The best unit in the game, everyone. This card copies the top card in your deck, regardless of who it belongs to. So let's say it's G-Doll's heal, and reduces cost by 1, and has Tawil plays it. You can use this to scout what the next card in your deck is, and whether to waste an inspiration to pull it or not, as well. And it also gains an additional 10 ailments. This card is extremely broken because it lets you play high valuable cards multiple times a turn if they're the top card in your deck. It paired with Jenkins, for example. It will play her rat card because that rat card always goes to the top of your deck afterwards. So she pairs great with Tawil. Tawil is good on every team. This card, it gives strength and gives 1 insight, which is inspiration. Very good. It gives strength and shuffles wings. So she has 3 wing types, 2 wing, 4 wing, and 6 wing. The names of the wings will change every patch. So I'm going to refer to it as 2 wings, 4 wings, and 6 wings. So 2 wings is the first form of the card. Every time you play it, it shuffles a higher tier wing into your deck and draws a card. This is insane. As you saw at the beginning of the video, 2 wings deal 2 instances of damage and gives Tawil shit ton of alienness to charge her Exalt. 4 wings is one of the best cards in the game. It applies strength reduction, which is helpful on multi-hit bosses. She is the strongest source of strength reduction in the entire game with 4 wings. 6 wings, as you saw at the beginning of the video, it lets you choose from 8+ choices of one-time effects. Barrier, draw a card, gain alien miss. The best unit in the game. Period. Not even close in my opinion. This, you saw me use it a few times. It generates a random posse and double cast it. And increases her S key or key flare gen. She is the strongest unit in the entire game. Fit into every comp. Very fun to play. Her downside, you have to play a trillion cards a turn. Your turn never ends. The enemy will die before you run out cards to play. So, that's her downside. Turns will take forever. She will make your gameplay last longer if you're doing for dailies. But she's very strong. Now, next up in Chaos is another S tier unit, G-Doll. G-Doll, however, is an S tier with caveats. You want her +4. G-Doll +4 is one of the strongest in the game compared to E1, E2, E3. So she's a very heavy investment character. You want to waste a lot of pools on her. Unlike Tawil, which you only need 3 copies of her, G-Doll, you want 8 to bring out her full power. Why do you want 8? Because her Overexalt is one of the best Overexalts in the game, period. Her base Exalt and her base abilities are okay. Look at this. Her 3 costs gains 50 alien miss and heals you for every 50 alien miss you have. If you don't have Overexalt, it will only heal you a maximum of 3 times. Overexalt increases her alien miss cap by double. So this can trigger 6 times with Overexalt or more as your cap increases in hard mode. So at endgame, this will heal for hundreds of HP. Shit ton of heals in Overexalt. In addition, her base Exalt gives everyone 15 alien miss, applies poison, buffs your damage by 50% that turn. It's good, right? It's decent. It provides help for a burst turn. Let's see what her Overexalt does. Her Overexalt, he gives double the alien miss, and it increases your poison, counter, and base damage by 10% permanently. Permanently throughout the entire battle. Her base result is single. And also, since it's a permanent increase to 3 different damage sources, some cards will benefit from this double or triples. Her Overexalt can stack as many times as the Overexalt. So I tend to delay the end. I'll go over the end until very late into the fight. So by the end, I'll have 8 stacks of that. So that means I do 80% more base damage, 80% more poison, 80% more counter. which means she's key for poison and counter comps, like Caucus. Caucus is great. He has this card that benefits from G-Doll's Overexalt. So, it applies damage and counter based on the damage. What does that mean in terms of G-Doll? He doubles, if not triple dips. His base damage is higher, which means this number is higher. And it generates counter, which means her ability will buff this to do more damage, which generates counter, but it'll also generate more counter. So he double dips into G-Doll's Overexalt. Same with any unit that has a card that does poison based on the damage it does, like Miriam. Deals damage and apply the same amount of poison. It double dips into G-Doll's Overexalt buff, which means with the math in this game, it stacks insane endgame. 13,000 counter per card, 50,000 poison eventually. Same with 24 blue. Insane, great unit. Again, I recommend +4, but it's unachievable for most players unless you save a lot of pools or spend money. Besides +4, it's E1 is fine, but she won't be an S tier unit without +4. Without +4, she's like B+, maybe A tier. Her strike and defense also gain more alienness than normal. This is very useful. It's a free bone and weakness. Her rouse is really good. Now, the recommended wheels for her are beginning. It's her wheel and her event wheel. Eventually, you're going to replace this with Incalculable once you get Incalc +12. Incalc is a standard wheel. I'm currently working on it +12 myself. I've been playing a while. I recommend getting Titan's Blade up to +12 first, but this is her second wheel. Eventually, G-Doll wants this. G-Doll S tier. But even with +4, she is a peer supportive character. That's why she's in the support section on the tier list. She does little by herself. You want to pair her with another S tier attacker, like Tawil, Jellet, anyone, or debuff. As you see, she has no real damage cards herself, but she gives a lot of buffs to the team. So the stronger your other units are, the stronger G-Doll is. If you're using a team with shitty characters, like Ultra units, for example, if you're using G-Doll with ult trash, might as well quit the game. It does nothing there. You don't use her with weak units. Use her with strong units. She buffs them stronger. Just like in any other game. Support characters buff strong characters. If you're a good teammate in a shooter, for example, you want to play with good attackers. You support them. If you're playing with shitters, you're also a shitter. She doesn't do anything in a weak team. So that's why she's an S tier with caveats. She's only strong in a team with already strong units. Now, the other S tier support is Hamill, which is less restrictive than G-Doll. Because even on a weak team, Hamill is good. Now, Hamill, you want him E2. E2 is where he drops off, because E3 is not that good. It's useful. I have her because I like playing a lot, but that's just me. But E1 doesn't do a lot. E1 is worthless. So if you have to choose between one copy of Hamill or two copies, get either 0 or 1 copy or 2 dupes in addition for E2. But he can function just fine at E0. He's one of the few limiteds that function fine because you don't play any of his cards but this card and Memory Wand Rondo. You don't play his strike, you don't play his defense, and you rarely play his Soldier. This is good. Some people build DPS Hamill. Some of the biggest whales in the game have DPS Hamill, but you have to whale super hard for this to do a lot of damage. Reason why he's S tier. Discard. Discard is why he's S tier, his rouse. So what his rouse does, as I showcase in... Well, I didn't actually showcase it. I killed everything too fast. First world problems. But every turn after you play his rouse, he generates a music card, a 0-cost music card in his hand. What that card does is you can choose to make the next card you play 2 mana cheaper, or increase its mana cost by 2 and double cast it. So you can either make your next card you play 2 cheaper for free, or double cast it at the cost of plus adding 2 to its cost. Insanely strong, always useful, broken. His Exalt, what it does is you choose 1 card in your hand. It also does damage. You ignore the damage point. It doesn't do much. You choose 1 card in your hand, and you reduce its cost by 2 and double cast it. It's basically both effects of his Rouse. So this is the 2 reasons why you use Hamill. You sell his attack, you sell his defense, you sell these 2 cards, you keep these cards. And Memory Rondo. By far one of the best cards in the game. You can use it to cheese Chapter 8 and Chapter 9 if you're a new player, and even Chapter 7. You can play this card even if you don't have the mana to play it, as you saw in the beginning of the video. If you have the mana to play this card, you gain 6 strength, and you add 2 insight or 2 inspiration to your hand, which draws 1 and gives 1 mana. If you do not have the 3 mana needed to play this card, you can still play it. You gain the 6 strength, and the 2 inspiration gets added to your deck. You can always play this card. If you play any deck builder, you will realize how broken this card is. Never sell this card. This card is his bread and butter, baby. And his wheels. His signature wheel is not that great on him. What you want is run an S-Key wheel and a Battle Pass wheel discard for R2 health. Or you have him carry Costco, which I detail in my Costco guide. You use basically your R wheels on him, because his wheels aren't that great. But place whatever wheel on him, because you don't use him as an attack. You don't really use him often. He's there to reduce the cost of your other units card and to draw. He's a great drawer. Now, S tier. Next unit in Chaos. Since I'm just going to go back my list. Nautilus. Nautilus is A tier. She's A tier as fuck. She's one of the best defense units in the game, and she's a standard unit, not a limited unit. She's one of the best standards in the game because she provides insane amounts of shield. Insane amounts of shield, and she scales off counter very well. Her caveat, she does not build counter very well. She builds temporary counter for this, and she builds permanent counter for this. You always sell her strike card. Her strike card is useless. You keep all of her defense cards. She generates a lot of shields. She's a good slot in on every team. If you need to survive, you don't have enough shielders in your team, you slot in a Nautilus. She's great. Her Exalt is great. This ability making you immune to fragile, weakness, and bone for 1 turn. Great on some bosses. Gives you 50% shield. She's a great shielder unit. She does not do a lot of damage. She's paired best with Caucus from Blue Realm. And in Chapter 7, you can cheese with Caucus by duping her 3 and Caucus's 3 and never die. Now, Enlighten. Since she's a standard unit, you're going to have multiple copies of her. But you want her E3 because it gives you the effect of increased damage on her ult and immune to bone, weakness, and fragile, which will help you cheese some bosses. E2 is fine because it gives prep 1. Again, all of her E's are good except for E1. E1 is like a whatever. Because, again, basic strike does not gain a lot of attack. Again, if you need shields, put her in your comp. She's a great flex unit. Great defense unit. She does not do damage. She has 1 job, and she does it well. Look at her stats. High health, high defense, low attack. She defends very well. A tier. Now, Nymph. Nymph, unfortunately, is D tier. She's below average, might be even trash or some. She has some uses in a poison team, but the reason why she's bad is because she's not part of the current meta with poison. She doesn't trigger enough. Her cards are too expensive for what they do. and her symptom effect is kind of worthless. It's capped at 3 and it does nothing. Increased damage by 11. Worthless. Her strike and defense doesn't do much. And this card is way too expensive for what it does. 1 turn of weakness and bone and gains a small shield for 3 costs. Kind of bad. D tier below average stat. She's not useless like Ultra is, you know. If you're playing an Ultra, she's better than most of your realms. I'm sorry, that's just the fact. But she's a great unit if you're desperate. She's a bad unit in general. So you're not going to use her. Most players aren't going to use her. She needs buffs badly for the current meta. This card needs higher numbers. This card needs higher numbers. Everything needs higher numbers across the board. Her effects are good. Triggers poison. This I can see some use, but her numbers are way too low to be viable compared to other units. Like again, her poison is flat poison. As I stated in my Miriam video, in my Alcor video, most of the meta is to do equal damage, equal poison with scaling endgame. Because this increases based on how much damage she has, how much power you have. So equal. Nymph does not scale well with power at all. Because that's how she is, unfortunately. So D tier. If you have to use her, you just have her carry Costco. I would not recommend using her for any new player. Now Pandia. Pandia is D or F tier depending on who you ask. She's D and F tier in every tier list in the game. Exactly 0 players think she's good. I only have her D tier on my list because she has 1 niche use. Everyone else has her on F tier. I'm the most generous player when it comes to Pandia. Why do I have her D tier? Some bosses for your weekly boss events or your endgame content generates counter. She's the only unit in the game that does this. Remove their counter. This is the only reason she avoids being from F tier on my tier list. This card. Why is she so bad? Temporary counter. Flat permanent counter. The only permanent counter she gets is flat values. And as I went over in my Caucus Awkward video, flat poison, flat counter is garbage. It does not scale well with power at all in the current meta. The things that scale well is deal 50%. This is great, but it's temporary counter and it's halved. Halved. If this was permanent, she would be B tier or A tier. But since it's temporary, worthless. Caucus is better than her in every way. In addition, her stats are complete shit. So yeah. D tier, you only use her for her 2 costs. Don't use her at all, basically. Now, next unit. Oh yeah, she's good early game, because early game, it doesn't matter, because flat value early game, but end game content, scaling gets to the point where flat values does not work. You need things that scale to end game. Flat values do not scale in this game. Alva. Alva on my tier list is F tier. She will be F tier for 90% of your gameplay. After a year or 2 of playing, she jumps up to B or A tier. Because she scales awfully until you hit E plus 12. Meaning, after 15 copies of her, she will be A tier in use endgame. Because she'll have a lot of sigil gain, loss of death resist, and more damage on shield comps like Sangha. The reason why she's F tier for most players is because her damage scales off how much shield you have. Now, early game, shield is limited by how much health you have. At lower levels, you have no HP. You're starting with 200 to 600 HP, which means she only scales up to a maximum of 600 shield. In addition, you don't generate a lot of shields early game, mid game, until very late in the game. And with only certain units can you generate shields. But After a year or so of playing the game, she will be usable once you have the Sangha, once you have big shields, big units, and she's very buffed. But for most players, she's F tier as she'll do no damage at the beginning of the game because your shield is limited by your health. Your health is limited by your level. So, F tier. Again, she will be good later. But early game, mid game, she's basically an Ultra unit. And Ultra units are trash. In fact, okay, she's not as bad as Ultra. She's still better than Ultra because people actually use her. Okay, next unit. Karen. Karen is a good B tier unit. B tier support or B tier damage. But people don't use her right. Well, endgame people do, but new players don't use her right. You don't play her cards. This might be a weird thing to say. She's good, but you don't play her cards. Why is she good then? Both of her skills have retain. What you do is you play Karen and you never play any of her cards. You sell her strike, you sell her defense, and since these two cards are always in your hand and you never played them, your deck is thinner. Because you only redraw cards that goes into your deck if you never use them. If they're always in your hand, they never go back in your deck. So you cycle through your deck faster. She's placed in your team, as I showed in the beginning of the video, so you can cycle through your deck faster and get to the good cards faster. And her Exalt, which I never used, will give you 1 alien miss each time. Her Exalt is very good. It gives you free mana 3 times. It gives you three mana, basically. So that's why you use Karen. You use her to go over your deck faster. You don't really use her. She's just there. Yeah, that's why she's good. What wheels, what covs to use on her? You have her carry your Costco wheels. Like that Rick and Morty meme. What do you do to exist? She just pass butter. She just passes cards so you can get to your good cards faster. That's all she does. You don't use her to heal. Her heals are too low. You don't use her for anything. You use her to exist. And that's all she does. And that's fine. Now, 24. Oh, and since you use her just to exist, it doesn't matter how many dupes she gets. You can use her at E0, you can use her at E plus 12. She does the same thing. Nothing. And sometimes doing nothing is better than being an Ultra unit. Now, 24. With her recent buffs, she jumped from A tier to A plus, maybe S minus tier. Meta defining. 24 was the most complex unit in the game before Tawil. She got power crept hard as the flex unit. She can be played in all 3 realms: Chaos, Blue, or Karo, which is red. So out of the 3 realms that exist in the game, she can fit into any of the teams. Do not play her purple. If you play her purple, you'll basically lose. Because purple is basically dead in the water. Her best realm in the current meta to play on, that everyone plays her in, is blue. Why? She has 8 different exalts. Look at this list. She has 4 different Rouses depending on which realm she's played in. Now, I'll go over her general abilities. She has 2 forms. She changes forms when you exalt. So, her base form, her depressive form, she generates more power. She generates lots of alien miss, reduced costs. Her exalt form, she does that realm mechanic. So I'm going to go over to best realm, Aqua. In Aqua realm, she scales off 70% of your tentacle damage and poison. She does poison and scales off tentacles. The strongest 24, it can deal 3 million damage in a turn at the highest. If you have her super built, 3 million damage, and her best partner is Goliath. Now, I'm going to go over her Goliath 24 comp right now, which is the best way to play her. All credits to the Chinese community. Thank the Chinese community for figuring this out. Thank everyone who has figured it out, because any community did not figure this out. Goliath is her best partner to pair with. No one thought of this but the Chinese community. Why? His Exalt option 2, Usurp. Gain temporary power equal to 60% of tentacle damage. So that combined with 24 buffs her up immensely for burst turns. And it scales with strong attack damage and tentacles. It is the strongest burst in the game currently. Is freaking broken, dude. So yeah, blue is the best way to play her because of that combo. But other good ways to play her, it's Caro. She pairs well with Salvador. She generates a lot of embryo fusion for Caro and lots of power. Chaos is Exalt 24, meaning she scales faster with crit damage. So in orders of usefulness, is blue mix first, then Chaos and Caro next, and you don't play her Ultra. Never play her Ultra. If you're planning on playing an Ultra, just uninstall the game, play a different game. Ultra does not have the place in current meta. You will figure out why player is the weakest 24. If you're planning on playing her Ultra, just don't pull her. Go home to your wife, fix your divorce or whatever depressive state you're in, because it's fucking useless. Now, what Enlightened do you want her at? E1 is a great stopping point. She's a great low investment character for new players. You don't need to invest in her. You don't have to spend a lot of money on her. Just get her to E1, and she functions end game, late game. She can clear every constant in the game. Hard mode, any difficulty in the game, E1. You don't need her E2. You don't need her E3. They make her stronger, but her biggest power boost is E1. So, I don't recommend doing E2, E3, or +4 unless you really love her and you want to do it because she's your favorite unit. But even then, you save your pools for something else because she functions amazing. Unlike other Awakers, which need higher E's, she gets 99% of her power from E1. Everything else just buffs her a little bit. So play her blue, get her E1, and she does a shit ton of damage. And her recommended wheels, do not pull her wheel. What wheels do you want on her? You want these two wheels endgame. The Battle Pass wheel and Goliath's Blade. Not this wheel. Goliath's Blade and Battle Pass wheel. It's her two best wheels in the game. Do not pull on her wheel. Her wheel got power crept by her. Do not pull on her wheel at all. If you need a wheel on her and you don't have her wheel, which I don't recommend pulling, and you don't have Goliath's Blade, you don't have the Battle Pass wheel because you're free to play, I recommend going to the store and buying Lotan's wheel, which is this. This wheel is fine on her temporarily until you get her to Battle Pass wheel or Goliath's Blade +12. She's a great unit, A+ to S tier unit currently. Nothing against her. Riker. Riker was one of the first limited Chaos units to release in the game. On release, he was S tier. He was S+ tier. He was SSS. He was known as the strongest Awaker to ever be released in the game. He was known as game-breaking. He was known as the god among gods. People complained that he was too strong. If you look at every tier list now, whether it's my tier list, Gale's tier list, the Chinese tier list, he's fallen to A tier. Since he has been released, he has never been nerfed. What happened if he was known as the strongest unit in the game? He got power crept by Tawil and Gillett, as you've seen how powerful they are. So, he's still very great. He's the same strength as he was on launch and where everyone praised him. No one praises him that much anymore because he got power crept. But he's still A tier, still one of the best units in the game. He's not game-breaking comparatively. Now, most players use him as a support. However, God Riker is real. technically, a fully whaled out Riker does the most damage in the game and will probably be the strongest unit in the game, theoretically, that will ever be released. Now, I say that, and I'm smirking right now. Why? Because he's a gacha character within a gacha game. Everything he does is RNG. So, his skill 1, Unexpected Harvest, if it crits, you draw a card and reduce its cost by 1 or 2 if you have him enlightened up. Now, it relies on crit RNG. But if you crit every time, he draws a card and makes it cheaper. If you don't crit, it's just a draw 1 card. His 2 cost and its Exalt has a unique ability that it rolls a number from 1 to 6. That determines how many times it does damage. Now, if you roll a 6 every time, if you're very good at RNG and you never roll a 1, this does the most damage in the game. It does 6 instances of damage and it generates 1 this. If you roll a 6, it generates this card at a 0 cost. So yeah, if you play this, you get this, 0 cost, you crit, you draw another card for an infinite loop over and over. So theoretically, your turn can be extended to infinity, as you've seen in the infinity comp I showcased at the beginning of the video. Will you be that lucky? Depends on how lucky you are IRL. This is why he's A tier on most tier lists. He has his moments of greatness, but sometimes when you play him, you will roll a 1 on this, so it only does 40 damage. You will never crit this. You will roll a 1 on this, so it only draws 1 card. He's extremely high variance gameplay. This, you roll 1 to 6 cards. Depending on your roll, you can draw 1 card or you can draw 6 cards, and you can gain 4 strength or you can gain 24 strength. Pure RNG. Also, he generates more money than most Awakers, and he has a unique mechanic where he does more damage depending on how much gold you have through winner takes all. So he's one of the few units with a special passive. Upon killing an enemy, he gains 5 black sigils. At 75, 150, and 300 black sigil means the longer his stage is, the more powerful he gets. You get a special relic unique to him. These are the 3 relics you can get. There's his crit rate, dice roll. So he generates a lot of money for your team. Very good in Costco comps. Very good unit. A tier. Super A tier. Great unit. S tier if you're lucky. And his wheels. You want his Sig wheel and another money wheel usually. But if you love Riker and are a furry lover and you want to build God Riker, you're confident in your ability to wreck face, to take no prisoners, you will never miss a roll, you can invest in God Riker. This is God Riker. This is the strongest Riker in the game from this guy. This guy is a Riker main. He loves his furries. He invested, I think I asked him, he invested like $4,000 into this because of the Covenant and wheels. You want his wheel plus 12, you want him plus 12, and you want Daft wheels plus 12, and you want 100% April relic. This. So this is God Riker, the strongest, I think the most fun unit playing in the game. I borrow it all the time in every event. It does a shit ton of damage. Again, this is a big money investment, but this is potentially one of the strongest units in the game. Will you get it on a free-to-play budget? Nope. So for most people, you're going to use him as support Riker. You're going to use him just to draw cards. But if you want to spend a lot of money on him, he could be as strong as Tawil. If you're lucky. Now, those are what wheels you use on Riker. Next unit, Ramona. She's a base SR unit, but she's A tier. She's better than most standard, and she's better than every Ultra unit. I'd rather you play her than put an Ultra unit in your comp. Unlike this game, SR units are good. SR units can be used endgame. There is a Chinese meta where 2 players duke it out and clear every content in the game with the base SR comp, which is these 4 units. Every content in the game, hard mode, extreme difficulties, can be cleared with these 4 units. Because these 4 units are stronger than most standards. They're stronger than all of the Ultra Realm combined. However, all 4 of these units, which I'm going to go in quick succession, are gate kept. But they're easy to plus 12. Every player, whether you're free to play or a whale, can plus 12 them. Get 12 copies of them eventually. How? Through, let me see, investigate this. Every month, you can buy 2 dupes. So after 7-8 months, you'll have them plus 12, which is faster than you will have the welfare units. So you'll eventually get all these units plus 12 and can clear every piece of content with them. However, within these 4 starter units, there's a tier. Only Lotan, Ramona, and Ogier are known as good units. People only use G-Doll plus 12 because they want to be known as the SR comp, but in reality, they would want to replace a regular doll with someone else, because this unit is pretty bad overall. Like a really, really bad unit. Cards are too expensive, and it doesn't heal for a lot. Like, Tawil uses her card better. Why is she bad? Her stats are super low for being support. Look at her stats. Look at Ogier's stats. Higher in all 3. Because support, she has one of the lowest stat bases, so she does not generate her cards well. But that's why Tawil pulling her card is very good at the beginning. Because her cards, to compensate for her stats, have really good scaling here. To compensate for her low stats. But if another unit gets a hold of her card through some mechanic like Tawil, they use her cards better than her. So out of the 3, of the 4, she's pretty bad. Ramona, you will use her forever throughout carrying the game. She's very popular in China as she's like the main waifu. But if you're going to use Ramona, you sell her 3 costs for gold. You don't use this a lot because it has really bad scaling, gives temporary strength. As we know, temporary strength is garbage. You sell this for the free 50 sigils, and you play these 4 cards. Sometimes people also sell this card as well. She's good because of her Exalt, which lets you draw from the discard pile and set the cost to 0. So she's going to be a staple in your comp if you're a new player for a long, long, long time. So she's super good. A tier unit. Draw any card. Now let's go over her secondary form. For 60 pools, I get a lot of questions from this. So Genesis Ramona, you unlock by playing through her story and spending 60 standard pools. She's also A tier, but I recommend not unlocking her. You unlock her by spending 60 standard pools. She's more niche than Ramona. She does power and her mechanics are very good, but she's used in very few comps. But in comps that she is used, she is very good. She is not worth 60 standard pools. You're better off as a new player to use the pools on something else. And in addition, it's kind of a garbage thing. I hope they change it one day. Ramona and Genesis Ramona share the same slot, which means you can only use one in D-Tide. You can't use both on the same team, and you can't use both in the D-Tide. So you use one or the other, and you're always going to use Ramona in most cases, as she's more general use. The other character is more niche use. So I recommend not unlocking her until late game when you want to and you have the spare resources. And you do have that niche comp where she would excel at. Ogier, he's B tier, maybe C tier after a couple of months. When you're starting out, when you're limited by dupes, he's D tier as on my tier list because you don't have a lot of dupes and he's time gated. Eventually, after enough time pass, 8 months, he will jump up to B or A tier. I place him D because most players, when they start out, will have him at D tier strength. So he's almost an ultra unit. But eventually, you'll get him plus 12 and he will scale really well. Lotan. Lotan is B tier even if you start out, and eventually she grows to A plus to S tier after a couple months of playing. She is the strongest unit out of the starter units eventually. Why? Not because of her exalt, not because of her cards. When you get her to +4, she becomes one of the strongest units in the game. Because her over exalt does 15% fixed damage based on the target's max HP. Some enemies endgame will have millions and millions and millions of health. Other units will have trouble scaling their damage to take down the health. Lotan will always kill a boss after X amount of turns after over exalting enough, because it does a percentage of the boss's max HP. You don't care how much HP the boss has. The boss will die eventually. So that's why she's so strong. She does a percentage of the boss's max HP. So you want alien miss regen units for her, and you basically exalt and exalt every turn, and the boss will die after X amount of turns. So that's why she's strong. No matter what your comp is, if you're a free-to-play player, eventually, if your units are too weak because you overinvested, you pull too many characters, you can go back to Lotan, which you get free dupes every month. Hopefully you bought them, and clear any content in the game with her and her overexalt, because she does a percentage of the boss's HP. Now Lily. Lily is B tier to A tier. I don't have her unlocked because I don't like her character design at all. Her gameplay is fine. Her cards are fine, unlike Salvador. I just don't like lolly characters. That's just my thing. I don't like her outfit. I don't like her design. Her stats are good. Her abilities are good. She's decent. She's B tier. She generates the most shields in the game. She generates more shields than Nautilus if you get her up. So she's a good B or A tier unit once you have enough dupes. How many dupes do you want her at? You want her at least E2, if not E3, which you will gain a lot of shields, because late game, she'll generate 120 shields from her defense, which is really good. Nothing bad to say about her besides I do not like her design. But I'm being fair and objective, so she's B tier. You will have better choices than her, but she's a good unit if you manage to pull her. That goes over all of Chaos. Chaos Realm is very good. Second, just the best realm for limited. Second best for standard. You can't go wrong with pulling Chaos, really. And it's a great mixer, as you can mix it with any realm. All other units are pretty good. And that concludes the Chaos video. I'm going to record my last video, Ultrash, now.